Welcome to Cantina Vizsla. For the safety of the bartenders and any other patrons, remember to keep all arms, legs, tentacles, or any other extremities you may have to yourself at all times. So come right in, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Coming to you from the Panic Room in the crap part of the cantina, I'm Sparrow, and with me, as always, is a man who some say he is his own moving service. All I know is I call him Stan.
That's pretty true.
That's what he's relegated to right now.
Yeah. Ugh. Living's the worst. Like, it's just a combination of realizing you have too much shit, putting it in a box anyway, taking it to a new place where you still have too much shit, and not having any money to get more shit that you want.
Just get a dumpster.
Right.
Perfect reason to go through and sorting and getting rid of stuff. And with this continuing on is Cotman.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
We are here and just about as on time and as relevant as CG themselves. We seem to be keeping pace with their posts, which is good news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're on top of it.
Kind of good news. Kind of bad news also. It means they aren't posting anything. It's, hey, by the way, guys, maybe character we talked about and teased about a month ago, it's coming out now. Okay, have fun. Later.
Right. One of those awesome marquee events that everybody knows and loves so well.
Hey, it brings a new character in the game. Seeing Gideon actually test it out and everything actually looks like he's gonna bring up a faction and actually add counters at some point. It's just gonna take a while to become free to play and get to that point, but it's a step in the right direction, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, got a character. We can talk about that. We've got a lot of stuff going on in Mr. Gideon's show, so that's going to be fun to talk about later in the episode.
This last episode kind of threw a wrench into the legendary / event contemplation that we were guessing that we were having on what to expect here, because it definitely seems like CG's planning for something to go through with the mention that I think it was Quill, IG-11, and Gideon all at some point is going to get thrown into like Cantina just as bonus shards. I don't remember if Gideon was, or Quill or IG-11, but they did mention that to speed up farms because of something coming. So it sounds like a legendary or some sort of event to go along with it, which will be very exciting when it starts happening.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of Moff Gideon and Giancarlo, I finally getting caught up on The Boys. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I binged all of season 1 last night. I'm about halfway through season 2, or maybe a third of the way. It's good. Definitely not quite the tone I was expecting, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, The Boys has aspects of it in which I went through, and it's like, to me, it like ebbed and flowed. You went through, and there were just certain parts of it. I was just like, I'll just get by. I got by it just to advance the plot line, and then there's other aspects that really drew you in.
Yeah, it's fucking the deep.
Yeah.
Okay, when he had his gills, I don't even know what you would describe that as. Raped?
Diddled?
Yeah. That made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, I was just like, this is really awkward. I don't like this.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. But him just trying to help his friends just never seems to work out.
Have you, has the episode with the whale standing on it happened? Okay.
Yes.
I could not stop laughing in bed, and it was like shaking the bed. My wife got so mad at me.
Yeah, that was something else. Yeah, y'all have to forgive me this episode. I've been painting and working on my cabinets for moving, which may happen this week, may happen next week. Nobody seems to know. But turns out, we're repainting the cabinets, so I put some paint stripper on the doors and just threw them all out in the garage overnight. And went out today to scrape all the paint off, and turns out I was getting high in the garage of strippers. So here we are.
The strippers were too much for him, and now he's kind of loopy.
They were, yeah. So I'm drinking some water and getting some oxygen. Maybe we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Man, we should get Stan a Michelob Ultra and make it a trifecta there.
Oh, man, I don't know if I can handle all that.
Dude, he'd be on his butt.
Right. We'd have the FCC after us and the podcast.
I can only imagine what you'd say then.
No telling. Oh, what about y'all? What y'all been up to?
Oh, I get bored, so I went through, repainted my house, blinds, just little maintenance stuff, hoping things kind of settle down with jobs and everything like that. Hopefully this week, and then figure out where to go as far as what to do with my house. Hopefully get a new one, and just started unboxing everything and putting everything up for Christmas, which I went through and didn't realize that I was going through and like hoarding Christmas stuff in my house at some point, or things my parents dropped off, and they're like, here's some Christmas stuff, and I just kept putting it down in my basement, and I was bringing everything up, and I'm like, why do I have 3 totes of Christmas stuff? I put up like a tree and hang ornaments, and that's about it. How is that in 3 totes? It just
got the spirit.
Someone has the spirit. It was not me. I just went through and looked at everything. I was like, oh, it's like all the stuff my mom went through, and like, it's like, yeah, I don't put this up anymore. They'll be able to put it up at their house and just threw it in a tote and dropped it off. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, speaking of spirit, my neighbors, like 3 or 4 years ago, having the music coordinated Christmas lights was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have done that. So they got like a whole kit. It is just like Jolly Saint Nick just ejaculated electricity all over their house. So we can't even try to compete with all that. But they've been advertising it where you can donate to our local shelter. They'll run a message across their big giant garage door neon sign thing. And so we just have cars like at all hours of the night coming by to watch this light display. And the Venn diagram of people in big ass loud trucks and people that enjoy coordinated Christmas light shows is like a circle apparently. My God.
I think that might just be the location you live at too.
Could be.
That's true.
Nothing else to do here except listen to weird Christmas carols.
Can you hear it in your house?
No, they fortunately have it on the FM broadcaster, so you have to tune in to hear it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he said it takes like 60 hours to program all of the movements and everything per song. Nah.
What?
Like, I kind of just want to make an arrow pointing to the house next to us out of Christmas lights and just go ditto.
That would be awesome.
Decorations.
Just hang a sign with a spotlight on it, says "See house next door."
Right? Yeah, they got you covered, fam. It ain't us.
Yeah.
Well, Gottman, what about you? What you been up to? You getting ready for Christmas too?
Yeah, we did the tree yesterday. I was telling you earlier, I was like, you guys make me feel so unproductive. Every time I get on here and it's like, Stan's getting high with strippers out in the garage and Sparrow's repainting or building a deck. And I'm just sitting over there. All I did was set up a Discord server for my fantasy league.
Yeah, you're going to have to change a fuse out or do some plumbing work or something.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done any of that. And I'm happy because I'm going back to work from home in January. So it's like I'm even getting lazier.
So they give you an estimate on when you would actually be going back then, or just full remote until further notice?
No, they said we're going to do it for the first 2 weeks, but it's like the numbers are just like blowing out of the water. So I can't imagine that we're going to be going back.
That was the same way around me. It's like I live in central Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere, and like when the whole country shut down, it was like cases were like high of like 30, 32, 36. This week we had 3 back-to-back days that was 136, 150, and 186. Mm-hmm. And I'm like going through it. I'm like, well, yeah. And the schools some of them are still going. Some of them are saying, well, you know, we're going to go one more week, and then after we'll be virtual through the 11th, and then we'll go back. And I'm like, why are you going back starting like the 14th for 1 week before Christmas? I was like, that's just silly. You aren't going to be doing that. Next Friday, you're going to say you're still going to be virtual for another week. But they keep kind of putting it off, thinking it'll get better, and not seeing it so far.
Not. Nope.
But Stan's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about other than wearing a mask at work and everything. Life is normal to me. I just wear a mask.
No, I was trying to look up our numbers in our little thing. I mean, we've had 1,600 cases out of like 20,000 people in the county. So
yeah,
it's about to get 10% infection rate so far with 59 deaths.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yay. There's no way to know this would have happened.
It's all
Jesus
testing.
Christ.
Just way too much testing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And masks. You don't need masks. It's an infringement.
Man, I was in Walmart last night because I just had to go get some shit, and saw this asshole with a We the People shirt, you know, with fucking flags all over it. Not wearing a mask, of course, because you know, if you see somebody wearing a We the People shirt, chances are they only give a shit about themselves.
But the worst part is they don't see the irony of that.
No.
Stan, once again, the Venn diagram in your location, what you just described seems to go through and hit smack dab in the middle. I'm not.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You say that, and I'm like, yeah, Stan, please. Like, if you went through and told me that there was a complete opposite of that, this guy was going through and helping people, wearing a mask, full-on hazmat suit, now that would be shocking to me.
You mean to tell me that there are preconceived notions about people in southern Arkansas?
No.
You know, that southern drawl and everything. Yep, to have no preconceived notions at all when they go through and jump out of a lifted truck with diesel stacks out the back, rolling coal. There is no preconceived notions at all about those types of people.
My big preconceived notion came when I found out you didn't have a target.
Oh yeah, no. We don't have a target.
Then I was just like, okay, he's in the sticks, and you know he probably has a gun rack on the back of his truck.
I don't even own a truck.
Well, not you, but I mean like everybody around you.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I'm not gonna say anything more about that.
The only way Stan would have a truck would be to blend in so no one noticed.
Right. Well, I actually considered it. I mean, because trucks are handy in certain use cases. You know, if you need to haul some stuff here and there, but then I figured, you know, if I'm really gonna haul stuff, I can find a friend with a truck, or you know, rent a movable truck.
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't even talk today.
Let's get back to the game because we really
went
down the pipe hole there.
The pipe hole of Arkansas.
Yep. Yes, we did. Went down in that hole. So, Stan, what'd you do in the game this week?
Why do you start with me?
Because you were already dropping F-bombs and people are at Walmart and everything, and you're high on strippers, so I figured, why not?
Just keep it going. Yeah, so I got Jedi Master Luke up to Relic 7.
And how do you feel about that, Stan?
Oh my God, fuck tickets, so hard. God.
still don't have what it takes. I must train harder.
Fucking tier 3. Everybody's all like, oh no, this wasn't video. You can't lose. I did it 1,000 times and never lost once and won $1 million on lottery while I did it. It's so fucking easy. Bullshit. Fuck you. You stupid ass Vader RNG. Force crush one flick of his wrist and you're dead. Go get yourself 70 more tickets, shithead.
So, if I tell you that I did not lose that round, are you going to be pissed at me?
I'm going to go to your house and shit on your face. Think about that.
Now...
Okay, well, we know a little of your kinks now.
I know where part of this is going. So, Stan, I know someone who asked you this, and I know your response to this too. So, Stan, did you remod for this tier?
I did remod. I watched the stupid video, like, oh, get your stats up to here, and that's what I did. And I still died. And so I'm like, oh, well, shit, let me remod a little bit more. So I did it again, and I died again. And then the next 2 rounds were just RNG shining light up my butthole, and I just flew right through it. So there you go. That's my story on Jedi Master Luke and tickets and how much I love this game.
Oh man, that was good.
Yeah, so I got him up to Relic 7. I'm still working on getting the title. I got the title. I gotta get the stupid icon. Then I can start doing the stupid ultimate mats. And if I lose on getting the icon, I'll just hoard tickets another day and try it again. But I'll be mad about it.
You'll show them.
That's right.
I'll show them by grinding more tickets.
Exactly. Yeah, they got me.
Then I'll go complain about it on a podcast.
I will. The tens of people are going to hear this. Do you know who you're talking to? Oh, man. So I got that, and then I had all this gear hoarded, and I dumped it all into the Emperor requirements, and did not have what it takes. So that's a long way to go to keep farming gear there. What? But I can only farm light side because I'm doing tickets. So...
Well, let's go over this. Like, Stan got Jedi Master Luke, immediately takes him to Relic 7, all the Zetas. So all you do is, like, or no, it was a, like, one day
Relic
lag
6.
to Relic
It took me
7.
another day to...
Yeah. But all you see is a wall of Jedi Master Luke with Zetas and gear up to gear 13. And then all of a sudden, there's one line that says, "Congrats, Stan," and then you see another wall of everything that Stan geared for the Emperor. I'm like going through, I'm like looking at it, I'm like, well, no wonder Stan's not having fun in the game. He decided to hoard gear for about 8 characters.
Right.
You mean I should have spent some of those?
Oh man, yeah, Zeke's like, oh, you're not gonna just do a character for yourself? Who am I gonna do for myself?
Well, that's actually a fairly good point, because I did
to
the
do
same
what
thing
with
you
him?
did.
I don't know.
That's true.
You can do whatever you want to him. No one's going to judge you.
Lose in territory war with him, or lose in a grand arena.
Hey, you're going to lose regardless. So I mean,
that's true.
Might as well have a character you like.
Lose. Let's get the spotlight off of me. What the fuck are y'all doing?
Go ahead, Cobbin.
Oh god! All right, so I'm still on the Seep train. I got him up to R7, but I only had 2 Zetas. So that was, yeah. I took Watt to R4 because I use him in my Luke team, which Stan did not know about. And then took HK to 12.5, and I got 52 waves, personal best, and light side Geo.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty good. That's.
I heard the disgust in your voice, there, Stan.
Yeah, it stands like I don't want to talk about it.
Just the joy of light side TB coming out of my heart.
But you know what I can't wait for is next time we record, and then
Farrah, what you been doing? Did I die?
Stan has to be getting close with that. I mean, he is Jedi Master Luke now, and Rey, and Jedi Knight Luke. I mean...
Oh, no, he's going to lose in Wave 1 with Jedi Master Luke, and he's going to be so mad.
Oh, man. So...
He just left.
Oh, man. Stan, come back. He ran away from home. Well,
that's sad.
Oh, man. We'll see if he comes back. The strippers got to him. But I got really good drops on Hux and Sith Trooper. Sith Trooper with the double drops and the new shards and everything actually got to 5 attempts, 20 shards. So it got max shards on a hard note. I was like really surprised by that. But
they're doubles now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But we went through, got that. So both of them are now 7 stars. Went through, Hux went immediately to Relic 5, so he is done, and Sith Trooper really just waiting for one piece of gear. And then he will go immediately up to Relic 5, and I can start the lovely ticket grind for Kylo Ren. And then I'll get my second Galactic Legend, and down to, I think, I have 4 characters left for Jedi Knight Luke. They're all sitting at Gear 12, so I'll go through and get them up.
Nice.
So I can be ready for Jedi Knight Luke coming back, and go from there. I mean, go after Jedi Master Luke then. So it's like a nice little progression there. I just have to go through and get the start of it. As soon as I go through and get Sith Trooper done, I will be good to go, and it'll start rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's really all I did. I was going through, liking the double drops. Really helped out getting Hux and Sith Trooper up to 7 stars very quickly. I think I did that in like 2 or 3 days once the double drops hit.
Have you changed your opinion about how that's going to help the early players?
Yeah, as far as getting characters, I still think they're going to run into that bottleneck of gear. So you're going to basically be running into another bottleneck. I think the shards, and still the same opinion about it, I think the shards were the first step that needed to be done, but definitely the gear has to be followed up shortly, at least through the purple gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of going from there. But
yeah, I got back into my alt just because of that, and actually got Jedi Knight Revan really quickly. So I was like, okay, all right, I can start to see how this is working.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely see how it's going and seeing like where their idea was coming from and like what they needed to do. I'm just waiting for the next step, because it definitely seems like they're going to have to add that next step to it. But definitely good start to it, and kind of going from there. Still, I don't know. The shard shop still bothers me. Some of the economy as far as cost for pieces and some of the stores and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That still seems a little high. Even crystals for gear still seems like it needs to be adjusted crystal-wise, along with actually adding characters back into the store. I think they need to go through and rethink that, because you go to any other game, they actually do keep placing characters in stores and actually sometimes they'll add a character to a store, sometimes they'll go through and like swap them out and actually take an older character out, put a new character in, and do things like that, just to kind of go through and make it a little bit easier for newer players and have characters they actually need there in the stores. I mean, other than legendary events, I'm not really trying to think off the top of my head any characters worth getting in the stores anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I am back. Discord aside. hated me all of a sudden.
No, we just figured you had enough of us harassing you. You rage quit on us.
Right.
That's what we thought. We're like, oh
what?
man, Stan rage quit and ran away from the podcast. I mean, it's like,
I was like, oh man, I took it too far.
I think a little bit more than that.
Well, we weren't sure how much you could handle with all those strippers around.
Right. Yeah.
Litter
everywhere.
Yeah, who wants to go over the calendar?
Damn, that's all you, buddy.
No one.
Well, we got Kylo as a login. Y'all have any speculation on what that could possibly mean?
Yeah.
No?
Absolutely nothing. I don't think it really means anything.
The only very loose connection I could think is maybe we get some sort of proto First Order hint in the Mandalorian.
Ooh, that's smart.
But that's a stretch. That is.
Well, a lot of the teasers and everything, especially after this episode with Gideon and having the fleet and everything, was kind of alluding to the start of the First Order with Grogu.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I could see that, but I don't know where the Mandalorian's going to end up.
Yeah. The only other, I guess, spoilers for the last episode, so skip 10 seconds if you don't want to hear it. Blue butterflies at the Jedi site has been used before in Star Wars canon to with Ben and actually with Anakin too,
and Vader
to kind of show light side connections and stuff like that. Again, very, very, very loose connection. I doubt they're going to base a login character around that. I think it's just he's a requirement. Maybe people don't have him.
Well, I did see a speculation that the Mandalorian was going to tie in with Ben Solo.
Possibly.
So, I mean, that would go through and kind of tie in with the login and everything, but that was just people kind of guessing as far as going down the line with Grogu and everything like that. They're like, well, it could have the start of Ben Solo appearing.
He's pretty young at this point, though.
Oh, yeah. Definitely very young, but it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about that in the after show. But yeah, there's just that connection to the Force. Could be anybody Force sensitive at the time, which he could be part of that. But anyway, the calendar. Yeah, we've got a territory war. We've got the Grand Arena season 13, week 1 starting on the 7th. It's going to be droid season. So kind of take us back to some of the old metas. Get your speed up on your droids.
Did you see some of these challenges?
I haven't. No, are they?
One of them's win a battle with light side droids. I was
not getting that one.
I was like, how the hell are you going to do that?
Does it have to be all 5?
Pretty much. It's there's no attackers. They're all support. You basically have to use yeah, it was something weird. Ideal. You have to have IG-11 to be able to do anything with it.
Well, do they count? I mean, he's got the tag, but Chupio.
Yeah, basically you have to have Chupio and IG-11 to even have some sort of chance to be able to do that.
Love Chupio.
But
yeah, so we got that going on. We've got, let's see, I don't know, nothing super interesting on the calendar.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of galactic challenges, I went through after last week and everything. I was like, we're getting into the last round of galactic challenges, or not galactic challenges, Grand Arena. Yeah, completely forgot to sign it, log in, and join.
Cool.
I went through and I'm like, oh, let me go through with Hux and Sith Trooper getting up to 7 stars. I was like, oh, I'll go through, get them up to 7 stars. That it was pretty much the day of the join in. I was like, I'll do that, finish gearing them, get them relicked up, and be good to go and log in. Yeah, I went through and did part of it, and then the other part, I got caught up at work and forgot to get on at lunch and join. So, yeah.
Well,
I had a very uneventful last couple weeks because of it.
Well, it does look like the end of around the end of the year holidays, they're jam packing the game with a bunch of events. So we're getting actually 4. Well, if you count the 29th of November, 4 general commands this month. So that's really going to, and with the bonus shards, that's going to put a lot of people ahead on Hux's capital ship.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That'd be nice.
Looking forward to that. I missed one of the Radis at some point. I don't know. I apparently didn't log in or see the event or just yeah. At some point I missed it. I'm like, all right, well, it's going to take me another month now.
Yeah, they've got to work on that. I mean, the event little pop-up's good, but there's still a couple of days where, the event doesn't show up on the main screen yet because of something else in the way or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's not going to show up in the way because they have the
got to have that damn
hyperdrive bundle sitting in there 24/7 for the last year and a half now.
Right.
Well, you know how you can get rid of that.
Right.
It's like it's been sitting there a year and a half. You haven't got me yet. You ain't gonna get me. You might as well just take it away. But yeah, let's get into what happened over the last couple weeks here in the game. I mean, we went through, finally hit the 5-year anniversary of many of us playing this game, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it really is. Like, played literally every day for nearly 5 years now. I didn't start it right at launch, but it was pretty close.
Well, think about it like this. That's only 1,800 days.
Right.
And how many days was that Stan swearing at the game?
1,800.
Especially with tickets, and then especially when he goes to the when he went to the convention.
Yeah, celebration.
Yeah, when you went to celebration and they have an event going and he's up till 2 a.m. swearing, hoping he gets it before the event cut off.
Yeah, that was rough times.
Just as just think about it, Stan. If this game wasn't in your life, what else would you be yelling at?
I don't know. That's a really good
Strippers
question.
in the garage?
Maybe. Like, what would we have? I can't even talk. What would we have done with all of this additional time that we've used in this game? I mean, I wouldn't trade it. Don't get me wrong. Like, the community, the friends we've made, it's awesome.
How much brain capacity am I losing by trying to go through and remember 178 kits or something like that?
If you really want to get depressed, like, check out your purchase history.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I would be, oh my God. I'd be like, that's a house I could have bought.
Right. But think about the pride and accomplishment you got in this game.
Well, you can go through and CG realized how much you spent, and they gave you a whole bunch of goodies for the 5-year anniversary.
They did. Yeah, I can't complain. They did give some decent goodies. I was actually more excited about the signal data than anything else we got. I was like, yes, finally.
Oh, I was happy about the Zeta.
Oh yeah, because you're Zeta poor.
Yes, thank you.
You Zeta peasant.
Yeah, jeez.
Zeta surf.
I was kind of disappointed though there wasn't any slicing materials.
Oh,
yeah, that'd have been nice.
Sparrow, do you understand how entitled you sound right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
They gave me the relic abilities, but I'm like, but I wanted the just a couple pieces to help take a character to Relic 7. I'm like, all these pieces are very good to get to Gear 13, but I want to take someone to Relic 7, and I mean, that'd be very nice, because this is just kind of like a copy and paste of last year's rewards. Or goodies, really.
Well, if you're okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I just was expecting like 5 to 10 pieces of all the slicing material. That's it.
We got
or not slicing material, but the relic materials.
You got Chewy shards.
Well, yeah.
That's
we've got Chewy shards since year 1.
You got Radis and Finalizer shards.
Yeah, some of the rare characters that was pretty nice, especially these time gated ones here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, not bad rewards. Very good. Definitely helped out a little bit along the way. I still think CG's a little too stingy as far as like celebrations and goodies like that, because they go through and they protect gear and their price of the economy for gear so much that it's ridiculous. It's like, hey, instead of giving out 3 Chewy shards, give out a Carbonti, and they're like, ho ho ho, whoa,
Like,
slow your roll there. That is way too rich for our blood.
I just remember, like, back in the day, it's like, oh yeah, we sent an email out by mistake. Here's 300 crystals.
Well, it was like that,
right?
Or when the
server was down for 10 minutes. Here's another 50 or whatever.
Crystals.
Yeah. Or going through like the Rancor would have issues, and they're like, okay, the Rancor had issues and crashed, so here's a full droid collar and crystals. So they just went through and gave like everybody a droid collar, everybody a furnace or a Nubian scanner. They just went through and gave out full pieces, and now it's like you aren't going to see that at all.
Well, you know what? Like, as a whale, and I haven't actually spent that much in the past, like 2 months, 3 months, but I would throw money if they offered Zetas, if they offered the new, like the 6-dot mod slicing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff I want. But like people keep buying the gear, so that's what they keep putting in the store, and I just can't bring myself to buy gear. Like if it's a character, I'll drop the 10 to 20. If it's crystals, okay. I just don't buy the gear because I can get that myself.
I would be more inclined to buy gear if it was priced better. It's like go through, I'd look at like going through, I'm like, hey, I could drop I'm not opposed to going through putting $50, $100 in like a year or every 6 months. But then I look at it and I'm like, all right, if I spend $100 worth of crystal, that gets me one character to Relic 7. And I'm like, is $100 worth one Relic 7 character? And I'm like, no, it doesn't get me anywhere.
So yeah, that's the reason like I just won't do the gear, because I don't find that those are just, like you said, worth it. And so I'll spend it to get like, Moff Gideon to 4 stars because that gives me a head start. Plus it gives me some crystals. I'll buy the crystals because that could speed up something for me. But I won't do these gear things.
Yeah, that's where I think they're kind of missing out as far as going through with the economy for gear. I think they would make even more money if they went through and actually rearranged or adjusted the pricing of the gear. And I think a lot more people would actually spend like $20 worth of crystals to be able to get a character up to like gear 13 or something like that. I think a lot of people would go through and spend money if you went through, not even the relic stuff, just say just $20 and you get enough for this character to get to gear 13. I think there'd be so many people actually spending that much money. I think that's a good place in which people would spend.
Exactly. Like if they dropped the price of gear, people would buy it. And the whales would still, if you made the high-end stuff, like the Zetas and the Relic Mats, and even like the stuff to get to Relic 7, people would still buy that. So make that the high-end, but discount all the gear stuff in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But we had that. We also had a Moff Gideon drop. So do we want to go into the kit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's Stan, we want to go over the kit here?
Sure. Let me bring it up. I will say, just while I'm bringing this up, just graphically, it's a good-looking character.
Oh, okay. See, I hardly disagree. It freaks me out looking at him. I'm like expecting like his face to fall off like Gus Fring. It's too realistic.
Yeah, he looks good. He is just so intimidating at everything.
It's all those extra polygons.
They're getting put to use.
All right, so
all those polygons.
Yeah, so we got Moff Gideon, Dark Side support, leader Empire, Imperial Troopers. He is the wielder of the Darksaber in more ways than one.
Careful, he'll poke your eye out.
You're too young to play with such things. He has synergy.
So what you're saying is that wasn't a lightsaber he showed the little kid.
Well, let's hope so. Synergy suggestions would be Death Trooper, Snow Trooper, Shore Trooper, and Admiral Piet. Where's this damn kit? I'm reading his developer insight. That's one of his kit. Go away. CG, your forums need some work. Like, they are not.
Come on, they're early 2000 forums. I mean, they are well organized.
Right. All right. So his basic is Disruptive Shot, and this deals physical damage to target enemy and gains 1 stack of Insight, which can be copied, dispelled, or prevented. If he has 4 stacks of Insight, he gains the special ability Subversive Volley. This stacks until the end of the encounter. So Insight is, you just get it, and it gives you Subversive Volley. All right. Okay, one thing I gotta say about his graphics, the animations are a little too slow. Like his Subversive Volley one, where he pulls his gun out and just takes forever to shoot everybody.
I kind of like it because do you remember in the season finale, he took like a good 5 seconds to look at that generator.
Yeah, it makes sense, but in the middle of a battle, it just takes too long.
I see what you're saying.
But anyway, Subversive Volley, this deals physical damage to all enemies and dazes them for 2 turns. This cannot be resisted by the enemies with a leader tag. The Moff Gideon loses all stacks of Insight, and this ability is removed. So you got to try to use your basic 4 times, get your stacks, and then use your Subversive Volley, which will daze your leader, which is pretty cool. Special 1, Dark Saber Lunge, with a cooldown of 4. He's going to whip it out and just smack you in the face with it. Deals physical damage to the target enemy and inflicts armor shred for the rest of battle. Going to shred you with that big old saber.
Big old dark saber.
Big old dark saber. Special 2, Zeta. He's going to control the situation. This has a 6-turn cooldown. This will call all Imperial Trooper allies to assist, dealing 30% less damage. All units lose 100% turn meter, which can't be resisted. Then allies gain 25% turn meter. Tanks taunt for 2 turns. Attackers gain 50% offense for 2 turns. And support allies gain 100% protection up. So this basically just resets the battle and gives you some advantage. And his leader, tactical deployment at Zeta. Final text reads, at the start of battle, if Moff Gideon has exactly 1 dark side tank ally, 2 dark side attacker allies, and 1 additional dark side support ally, all dark side allies gain 30% max health and max protection. If all allies are Imperial Troopers, whenever an enemy with a leader tag uses an ability, Imperial Trooper allies gain 10% offense until the end of the encounter, the stacks. Whenever an enemy with a leader tag takes a turn, Moff Gideon gains 1 stack of Insight. Imperial Trooper allies gain 40% offense and revive with 50% health and protection the first time they are defeated each encounter. So get your cheat sheet out for that one. Then Unique 1, Know Your Advantages. At the start of Moff Gideon's first turn of each encounter, he inflicts Demoralized on all enemies, excludes raid bosses, until they are defeated. Moff Gideon is defeated or the end of the encounter. Demoralized can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted. So if you are demoralized, you have negative 50% offense, negative 25% critical chance, negative 25% critical damage, and does not stack with other debuffs. So, pretty powerful kit. Yeah, there's a lot here, a lot of kind of dependent synergies, but got some strong stuff.
Did you watch any of the testing or anything that people have done?
Nah. Did you?
Yes. I watched quite a bit. But basically it's going through. It seems like Gideon is designed to go through and create 2 separate trooper teams. So you have your General Veer's Piet. Or not Piet, but yeah. Basically your General Veer's team trooper team, and then you're going to have a Gideon team. But basically, the issue is Death Trooper is kind of needed for both of them to make them go through and actually counter any of the higher end meta teams right now, which is an issue. And it seems like they're missing a character in which you would expect another trooper to be entering the game to be able to fit into the team.
I wonder what trooper they could enter into the game.
Could it be?
Yeah, I wonder.
It's a tough one.
I wonder if any trooper came down and stole Grogu or anything like that. I mean,
That'd be pretty cool to put him in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems pretty likely.
But that's kind of seems like where the testing was, that it does go through and pretty much create 2 trooper teams. It's just missing one character. Like, you have Veers and Stark together. You have Gideon and Piet together. And then when you're going through and splitting up the other troopers, you basically end up with one Death Trooper is kind of needed for both. You know, but they also have to be reliced up and modded and everything. Mod is not as big of an issue, but actually having the time to relic them up to be able to make them viable counters is another story.
Yeah. Interesting kind of note on that with the preview graphics. They got 2 Death Troopers on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that was part of the event, but still.
Yeah, it just seems like there's going to be another trooper coming, whether it's a scout trooper. What was that listed as? What, a dark trooper?
Incinerator trooper, dark trooper.
Yeah, there's going to be... It seems like there needs to be another trooper in there to be able to go through and make 2 strong, viable teams to go through.
Yeah, it could be like remnant, just a plain old remnant trooper for another stormtrooper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which, by the way, they could fight, it seemed like, in this last episode, so maybe they won't suck.
They did okay. They're hitting more targets now.
But their armor
still
is worse.
Yeah, their armor sucks. They need to do something about that. It's dry rotted or something.
Yeah.
It's like made out of like paper mache.
Right. They're 3D printing their armor now. Apparently, it's all just plastic.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever upgraded it. It just seems to be a lot more brittle.
Yeah. So Moff Gideon, good kit. Just seems to... And this is stuff the game needs. I mean, it's a relevant character that's, in the forefront of current Star Wars lore and excitement. It's a good kit. We'll see where he goes on the table. It's probably going to be a 20 energy card node, if I had to guess. And it brings kind of lesser used former characters back into the spotlight. Getting these trooper teams, getting... remember, Death Trooper used to be the shit.
He still kind of is when you try to make a trooper team work.
Yeah. I'm going to be the CG defender here. They've been doing a lot of this lately. They've been doing, like they did Rebel Fighters with Mon Mothma, and all of a sudden people are using Hoth Rebel Scout and POW. They've really, I feel, since the graphics update, I know you guys give them shit for their polygons, and it's well-deserved. But
we only gave them shit for the polygons because they went through and hyped it up for, 6 months?
Completely understandable. But it seems like ever since they've turned that corner, I feel like they've had much more wins than they have losses. Yes, Galactic Challenges was underwhelming, but they've revitalized a lot of the shit-ass rebels that we have. They revitalized the Imperial Troopers. They've done a lot of things where I think that we're heading in a good place. I really hope they don't, screw the pooch.
I was actually going to go through and bring it up. What, out of the characters that they have brought out over... I mean, I think I can go back a year and a half.
Okay.
Did they release a bad character? I can think of 2.
Now, do you mean bad as in...
And they aren't bad, but they don't have a prominent place right now.
God, I'm trying to think back to who they brought out.
One kind of does, and one's actually super hard to get. It's probably the worst character they brought out in the last year and a half.
Who's that?
Kiadi Mundi.
Oh,
Oh, God.
He's probably the worst character they have brought out over the last year and a half, 2 years. And he's probably the hardest to get.
I'm not going to say this just because he looks like a dickhead, but that dickhead is hard as shit when he's relic. Like, he is a pain in the ass. I've faced him the last 2 GACs, and he sucks to fight against.
Under what lead and what team?
I actually have a picture of it because I was like, what the hell is this? But I forgot. I want to say it was Bastila, or it could have been Jedi Knight Luke.
I was going to say, I would think Jedi Knight Luke or Jedi Master Luke with a team, but yeah.
No, it wasn't Jedi Master. It was either Bastila Revan or Jedi Knight Luke.
Okay.
But he's a problem when he's relic. I mean, granted, I haven't even unlocked him yet. So
granted, I don't think there's only like 2 or 3 guilds that have him at 7 stars. There are not a lot of guilds that have him at 7 stars yet, but
I'm trying to think back of all the people.
Yeah,
we're at 30 of 65, so it's still gonna be forever for us to get him.
Yeah,
I cannot think of a single character who's bad.
The only other one that I go through as far as the closest that doesn't really have a use is Cara Dune.
She's pretty good with Mon Mothma.
Yeah, she has use cases, but she isn't like bring up a faction or bring up a team.
Yeah.
She's just kind of like that filler character. If you took Cara Dune out of Mon Mothma team, would that Mon Mothma team be any worse for it?
That's a fair point. Along those lines, though, I would say Grief and Mando. Yes, you could use them with bounty hunters and assault battles, but they're horrible in Light Side Geo.
Well, yeah.
Everything's horrible in Light Side Geo.
you just set them up for that one.
You did. That was just and also, before we get too far off the topic, bringing up characters like Pow and Hoth Rebel Scout, that's great, but we still have these Galactic Legend black holes sucking up every piece of gear and requirement that, if you want to stay on that meta, you just, unless you're willing to spend, there's nothing left over to get these fun teams.
Yeah.
That's a very valid point. But see, I'm with you, or not with you, I'm with Zeke, because you said that he was like, do something fun, and you're like, oh, I'm like, had a brain aneurysm.
That's exactly what I did. I went, ooh! I made that exact noise.
So
you could have saw it in chat. It was spectacular. What do you?
But I think you almost have to take a breather.
Probably.
It's just such burnout because, like you said, it's a black hole of death.
Right. And you know what? And this is me failing to take my own advice because I know I've said on this show that this is a damn game and do what you want to do to have fun with it, and I'm not doing that, so I have no one to blame but myself. So yeah, point taken.
Yeah, but I mean, overall though, character-wise and what we're talking about, CG has done a great job bringing in characters, bringing in useful characters. We haven't really had any characters in the game recently that have just been like, hey, they came in and everybody's like, kind of like, no, there's no need to gear them and no need to go right after stars. Because I know there was a handful of characters and listening to podcasts and YouTubers and everything going through, I'm like, man, they always seem so far ahead of me, just to realize that they didn't farm up all the characters to 7 stars because they were concentrating on gear, where OCD me went through and was like, I need to farm all these characters to 7 stars.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, again, Mr. Positivity here. If you're not going to have to gear them up to 7 stars right now, you will eventually for some sort of requirement.
Oh, yeah, and that's what a lot of them were having to go back and do that for one requirement or the other, whether it was a ship or a character that they didn't farm up. But, yeah,
Like,
they've
oh,
been-
asshole, we noticed you didn't gear up Mob Enforcer. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Why
need-
isn't your Ugnaught at 7 stars? Relic 7.
They're going to make that a requirement for the next Galactic Legend.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
It's going to be required for some sort of Mando event. But yeah, they've been doing a great job with that. It's just unfortunate right now where some of the characters that went through, like the Galactic Legends, they're so gear locked in which you don't have time to farm up that and relic up those bounty hunter characters, because putting Mando and some of these other characters in there, they do make great teams. They can make great teams that are fun to use, have good counters. Same way with Imperial Troopers, and now with Moff Gideon adds another team to that. It's just not enough relics to go around if you're trying to farm up for the Galactic Legends, which they're just trying to go through and get you to spend money on gear to try to advance that. And I understand that. It's just unfortunate they went through and put 4 big characters that are really good, and you want to farm to create these great teams. But in order to do that, you basically need to gear up, 2 teams apiece? So you need to gear up roughly 40 characters into relics to be able to use those 4 characters. So it's a long grind and kind of draws everything out in which you can't go through and do those fun teams and gear up and do like the old counters where you had these specific counters, like gear up when Night Sisters were big. You went through and it's like, hey, I can go through and gear up my Imperial Troopers, get a couple of them like Veers and Stark up to 12, and even have 1 or 2 of them at a gear 11 and be able to counter a fully gear 12 Night Sister team just because of the mechanics and the way it worked. It's like right now you don't have that opportunity to go back and throw a little gear on these characters because those counters have to be maxed out relics to be able to counter the teams now. It's not a hard counter in which you can go in with a lower gear anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Which, I mean, it's going to take longer to get the game to balance out right now, which is good and bad. And definitely moved that goalpost way out when these Galactic Legends hit.
That is for sure. Anything else in the game? I mean, we haven't had a whole lot else.
No, I mean, Gideon drop and
we have the droids are next. Did we talk about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the very some of the challenges and everything are just I don't see them getting done unless you're at a bottom tier or someone puts gear 11, gear 10 squad in there to allow you to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a relic team, it ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm looking through it now, see if there's anything. I can win 3 Grand Arena battles using Jawas. So.
Yeah.
Well, see, I want the B-Boop, whatever the title. I want that badly because I use BB-8 as my portrait.
Well, Jawas are another example of like one of the teams we were like talking about that you could go through and like under gear them and have a counter with Geos, but as soon as relics hit, that kind of got thrown out the window. Because I would imagine Jawas could counter a Mon Mothma team also now with the thermal debt strategy, but you need to go through and relic them out now to be able to do that, unless someone has a very, very under-geared Rebel fighter group in which they're Mon Mothma team or even Geos. As soon as you have one relic or the Geos are geared up, that Jawa team doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's making me sad. All these cool counters and everything that are very unique and very cool. And I'm like, man, that'd be really cool to have. Oh, wait, they need to be reliced out now. Oh, wait, I'll do this. Oh, wait, they need to be reliced out now. Oh.
And soon it'll need to be Relic 8.
Yeah. Oh.
Eee.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Marquee Watch. We didn't have any listener questions, so You don't get that this week. You want to ask us something, get on Discord and ask us something. So
yeah,
that works.
we didn't have a listener question, but we did have one. We'll have to get we'll have to talk to Zeke and go through, and we'll have an episode going through with different counters and different team compositions for like Galactic Legends and some of the other stuff. That way you can kind of go through and help everybody do Grand Arena a little bit better.
Yeah, if you don't know about the SWGOH counters website, that is a godsend. It's tied up by versus 3 and versus 5. You type in your or click on the team leader of your enemy. You can get specific teams. It'll show you specific counters. Kind of some of them have strategies and YouTube links and a general kind of win chance. So
yeah,
it's definitely a good tool if you haven't been using it.
It's very good until you go through and look up all your leaders and realize it's the same counter for four of the 6 teams that are in the front wall, and you're like, well, what do I do now? It's all listed as the same counter.
Yeah, it is kind of bad there. Or it's like, well, just use your Galactic Legends, duh, dumbass.
Yeah.
Well, they're already on defense.
Yeah. Use gas.
Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Marquee Watch, we had Moff come out on the 3rd, so do your 8 and 16 weeks from there for shipments and free to play, because I didn't do it this time. Will hit shipments, so you can buy him now.
That and
IG-11 should be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what CG does with these, because they did tease them getting thrown into bonus drops in Cantina.
Yeah, I think there'll be like a Galactic Chase type event for Quill and IG. I think Moff will just be a plain old release.
Oh, I think Moff's going to go in there also, because they said they had to speed everything up for that teased event. So if they're teasing a Mando event with the best car and everything, I would imagine Moff Gideon would be needed, and that would be the last character to drop. So I would imagine he would be in there also. But yeah, I have a feeling. I'm just kind of curious to see what the drop rates are and see how much that actually progresses, how many days it's going to be. Go through and get a good jump on these characters.
I bought a few of those Moff packs, those $12.99 ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 10 each time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I stopped doing that.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, if you have the crystals saved up and everything, it's not bad to go through and try one or two. You might get lucky, but I go through and use all my crystals on gear, so I don't even attempt it. I'm like, I'll use those 1,200 crystals buying 2 big pieces of gear and get someone up to gear 13 or something like that, or to relic 7. You find what you're looking for staying there?
No. You said they may have more characters coming, which I guess we'll talk about in the Mando discussion.
Yeah, because otherwise, just the way the Mandalorian and everything is dropping, it would be spoilers and everything for those episodes, so I don't really want to get into it. So unfortunately, it's going to be in Star Wars news, in which we go through and talk a little bit more of the speculation on what we think a legendary character would be, or what other characters from the Mandalorian may be hitting shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into who we're bumping and grinding on before we get into that, though.
Light side gear for tickets.
Stan's so excited about that. I like it.
He's like, yeah.
You can hear the joy in his voice.
Yeah, I mean, it's first world problem. Oh, I don't have anybody to farm because I'm too busy farming gear, but yeah, whatever.
You aren't too busy farming gear. You're too busy farming light side tickets.
Yeah.
So you can lose them and then have to farm more.
Right. Hey, I'm getting like 3 or 4 Kairos a day.
Hey.
Or Cairo salvage a day,
Yeah.
so yay, out of 500 tickets.
That's something.
Anyway, what are y'all working on?
I am working on one last piece for Sith Trooper, and then start grinding tickets for Kylo and Jedi Knight Luke requirements. So just have a few more of them to go through to get up to Gear 13. So I'll be ready for... We'll be getting shards for Kylo. We'll be ready for Jedi Knight Luke. And then I'll start working on relics to get everybody ready for when Jedi Knight Luke... I get Jedi Knight Luke, I should have everybody else ready for Jedi Master Luke. So, obviously, going through hard nodes, doing Chupio and Mon Mothma, Rebel Y-Wing and Gree for 64 and 54 of 100, so they're getting close to being finished. So, getting to that point in which you get a whole bunch of stuff all done in one go, and as soon as I get Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, it's going to help out a lot, because it'll give me another big team to be able to use. What are you working on, Cotman?
I'm just still doing dark side tickets to get the ultimate on Palpatine done, and simultaneously I'm gearing up Moff Gideon just because he looks like he's pretty good, and my trooper team got a bump when I did Palpatine. Hard node, I'm just trying to finish Sith Bomber. That is all I have left to farm, and then I'll be a retired farmer until these next 3 come out.
Right.
And then it's just gear with all the rest, and relic signal data.
Yeah, I think relic signal data is pretty much across the board anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. We're going to get into the Star Wars news, so if you don't want to hear that or hear the spoilers of Mando that'll tie into the speculations of the game, we'll talk to you next time. But if not, come on, join us. Let's get into the Star Wars news.
Yeah. All right, well, rip David Prowse. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just Star Wars is getting that old in which it's going to be unfortunate for
like the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get a lot of these, yeah.
Unfortunately. But
which it really started to make me think about my own mortality in a weird way. Because, I'm like, these guys have been in my life for, close on 40 years now.
Right.
Oh, man. But, yeah, it was going through. It's going to be like that. But, hey, helped to bring a great universe into the world. That's for sure.
That's very true.
And, I think a lot of times, too, especially with Vader, David didn't get as much credit as James Earl Jones as the voice, but he's the actor. He's doing all the motions and the scenes and the force chokes and all that. You can't have that character without the person inside the costume. And I think for a lot of the characters, they do get overlooked.
Exactly. It's like they had that small woman do Quill, but we all think of him as Nick Nolte.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. She's also Frog Lady.
Mm-hmm. She was the Frog Lady this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess kind of, too, the character versus the voice kind of comes into Mando with Ahsoka.
Ahsoka,
I mean, that's
Ahsoka, and the rumor is for Mando himself also.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that they're just going to have him go through and do same thing with Vader, just it's all going to be dubbed in.
Well, he's already done that a lot for a lot of the on-location shoots or a lot of the more stunt-heavy shoots.
The last I heard, it basically seems like because they were able to do that, they're just going to do that completely now.
I mean, it depends on what else he has going on. I mean, he's an actor. He can't make a living off of 8 episodes of The Mandalorian a year.
Yep.
I'm sure he can.
I thought that they did that with season 1 because he was working on Wonder Woman 84. But this year he got kind of hacked off because they were still doing that, but he wanted to be in the suit more.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they've been going through it. Just the way they've been doing the special effects and doing everything that leads to a lot of flexibility for Mandalorian. The way they're doing the vault and everything like that with their new screens and new digital effects and everything that they're using. They basically do everything on in one location now.
Yeah, it's still amazing too. Like, just look at some of the scenes and realize it's on, a screen basically instead of a location.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah, even though you can't still tell when they're on location at times, especially with the last episode. But yeah, it's just nuts. So did we cover the siege before our last episode? Or are we that far behind?
The last one we talked about was...
Nope. The last one we talked about was right before Ahsoka.
Was Bo-Katan, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we missed out on the siege. So that was a bit of a filler episode. Went back to Navarro. They stormed the Empire outpost, and I guess the big reveal there was, the cloning technology.
Mm-hmm. And the Dark Troopers.
Was that? No, that was the end of the last episode, I thought. Or was it that one?
No, we saw him at the end of the siege. He was checking on them, but then they were in use in the last episode.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, that was our two big reveals. And that's the thing about this show. It is so tight. Like, everything is used. Everything is... what's the word? It's there for a reason. To the point where, like, I've had to start skipping the previews, the previously on things, because it gives away everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting off track here. So we had that one. Decent episode. Wasn't super groundbreaking compared to what we had at the next two episodes. So the big one was the Jedi. We had live action Ahsoka for the first time, played by Rosario Dawson, as rumored. What did you guys think of that?
It was the episode as a whole was amazing because basically it took the two aspects of film genre that George Lucas said inspired him for Star Wars, being westerns and samurais, and basically have them in parallel in that episode, especially at the end, where you had the samurai fight and a gunslinger fight at the same time, and both the imagery as far as how they were shooting at the same time and how the battles were going through were almost direct copies of inspired films that were mentioned, which was
like Kill Bill.
Well, actually, Kill Bill is inspired by a samurai movie that was before it, in which Kill Bill took. So, same way with the gunslinger. So it's like everything was inspiration like that. So that was really cool that they had the tie back to that. Everything with, you found out that the child's name's actually Grogu.
Yeah.
And just Ahsoka in general, speech and just everything was going through. It's very, very Ahsoka, very going through and doing that, in which she actually, I don't think she ever went through and came out and said, "Oh, I can't take Grogu because I'm not a Jedi anymore."
No, she never played that card. I kind of thought she would, but I think for, I guess, the common audience that may not be as into the lore, it may have been confusing. They're like, "Hey, who's this chick with lightsabers? That's a Jedi." And then if she went into "I'm no Jedi," it may have muddied the waters, I guess. But as far as like her performance goes, my first watch, like at just initial hot take, was I was a little underwhelmed with it. I mean, it looked fantastic. Just the action, the movement, the costume, makeup, spot on. Could not ask for anything better. But the voice, it was just, it was different enough to take me out of it.
No, now that didn't take me out because I thought it was close enough, but I thought what took me out of it was I thought they were limiting her speech to try to cover it up.
Could be.
And that's what took me out of it because it kept seeming like her responses in her speech were all abbreviated to me, to where they like normally would compared to how she would speak in Clone Wars and in the animated series. It seemed like she was very abbreviated, and I felt like that was to try to cover up the voice difference.
Right, and I think a lot of times too, like in the cartoons, you know, the actors, their whole performance is the voice. You know, they are over enunciating. They are really focusing on the subtleties of the voice, whereas in live action, there's side glances, there's subtle body language that the actors also putting into that performance. So I've watched this episode a few times now, and after the second or third times, she's Ahsoka. I mean, it's just it fits.
Now,
and I think they're doing a good job too of honoring Ashley as much as they can with her performance of the character and her ownership of it throughout these years. We'll probably never get the full story of how she really feels about kind of being not involved in this.
Oh, she pretty much did on Twitter. She did not like it. She's like, she'll go through and support it, but she said she felt snubbed that she didn't get the opportunity to play Ahsoka.
Yeah. I think, you know, she's a great voice actress, but this is a physical character. She has to be able to do the stunts and do the physical acting, and I don't know. I've never seen her live act anything, so she may be fantastic. May not be. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, but she's also said, too, that Ahsoka's not her character. She's part of the team that brings that character to the screen, but she's not that character. Filoni and then the lore group has made that character. And as far as her performance goes, my headcanon that, you know, Dave Filoni directed the episode, so if Ahsoka is short and to the point and kind of cold, there's a reason for it. Mm-hmm. And we may get that down the line somewhere.
So, well, did you see the Filoni statement where he came out and said that Star Wars as a story is never linear because Lucas started it off with 4, 5, 6 because everybody was like, that's not Ahsoka the White. And he's like, you don't know when the Rebels finale took place. You just know that it happened, but you don't know when. So this could be leading up to it. She might not have found her Gandalf moment yet.
Right.
So I think that'll be interesting to dive into.
Yeah, so that was the three main things you got out of the episode. We got to see Ahsoka live action, which was fantastic. The lightsaber duel was
Did you see her fighting style, too? It bothered me at first.
Well, she switched it up at the end.
Yes,
because she changed her stance.
Yeah, because when she was fighting and everything, and I'm like, that's not Ahsoka. She has a different fighting style. That's not Ahsoka's fighting style. And then when she lost her saber and flipped it around, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this now. I understand. At first, I was very upset that she wasn't using her very Ahsoka fighting style.
The only thing that did kind of bug me with that episode was it was like Dave took his notebook and just had some really badass looking drawings and forced every one of those into that show. Like, okay, well, we need her cutting this tree and having it fall while she's just standing there in the fog. That looks badass. Okay, we need her doing this because that looks badass.
Oh, I think that was probably the
coolest. Look badass. Like,
I think that was probably the coolest part of it, like the tree and everything, because I don't know if that was ever in even the animated series in which the Jedi are using the environment in which he's cutting pieces of tree and then force shoving that hunk of wood to go through and use it as a projectile to take out people. And I was like, that makes sense. They should have been doing it that whole time, and her just going through the smoke and the fog and just annihilating people and basically just turning on and off the saber 24/7 because to hide. She's going through killing people with the saber real quick and then turning it off and disappearing again. I just always, especially the animated series, when they like fight the Night Sisters and everything, you always see the Jedi fire their lightsabers and then they just keep it on the whole battle. So you see them going around in the fog. You never see them turning off, and I'm like, that makes more sense.
Right. And another thing I'm curious is, like, she was just straight murdering folks. Straight up murking them. And how much of that is her actual character and how much of that is just the reins or the reins are off now with it not being a necessarily a kid show, or if there's a reason she's got that harder edge now.
I think she's probably down, like just trying to rid, like she's just sick of trying to play by the Jedi rule book, and she's just like, screw it, I am going to take away as much darkness as possible. If that means I have to kill these scouts, so be it.
Right, and also they're on between her and her quest to find the third major drop, Thrawn.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Just have. So that ties into your, when does this happen? You know, are they still looking for Ezra? Is this sometime in between before the finale, before they get shot off into God knows where? I don't know. It's very exciting.
Yeah, that whole everything with Thrawn going through and like her going through and searching for that seems to be the tie-in to start the live-action Ahsoka series, in which that's going to be kind of what she's doing during the live-action Ahsoka.
Yeah. Do you have any actors you'd want to see play Thrawn?
Who? No, I don't. I'm kind of open to it.
Like the voice. Again, it's the same thing with Ahsoka. We're so voices from the Rebels that hearing any other voices is going to be weird.
Yeah.
So, are you saying you would want Lars Mikkelsen to do it?
Maybe.
Lars sounds like a name that would fit for a Thrawn actor.
His look could probably pull it off. His chin's not quite as pointy as Thrawn.
Well, you go through and throw a prosthetic, his face is going to have to be blue anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing a quick search. There's a ton of fan casting.
Well, the one that I saw that I thought was pretty inspired was Chiwetel... God, I don't know how to say his last name. Ejiofor? He's the... who was he? He was in Marvel. He was...
I'm gonna. Well, while you're looking that up, I think David Cross could be pretty good. I mean, he's already mastered the blue makeup.
David Cross. Oh my god!
Finally, thank you.
Wait. Oh,
I thought like y'all were not gonna get that.
I did. When she said the blue makeup, I was just like, oh god. Blue man, he's a never nude. So you're saying Thrawn's a never nude?
Yeah, it just does not make tactical sense to expose himself that way.
Okay, so this guy was in Doctor Strange. I did not see that, so I don't know. But he's a black British actor, and I thought that was kind of an inspired choice.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of open to anything like that. Definitely would be really cool. I just very good tie-in to try to go through and actually put in Thrawn in there, which kind of brings in Ezra also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was gonna be the highlight of the season. Like there's no way they could top that. And they topped it.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, wow. So next, the last episode, the tragedy. We got some more big reveals.
Which I want to take a second. That was not a tragedy.
The Razor Crest being blown to smithereens was not a tragedy? That is a huge tragedy.
I guess it is for all the parents out there who got the Legos for Christmas, but...
Yeah, because they're...
That
tragedy is something large and massive in scale. Hurricane Katrina, tragedy. The Razor Crest, not a tragedy. Now, if you want to say it's the woe, that's okay.
Grogu got kidnapped.
Yeah.
That's tragic.
Grogu, we all know what's going to happen. Grogu's got plot armor.
Does not... Well, I know. It still does not make it any less tragic for the characters.
I would say that it is
a
distressing turn. I just thought that it was a little overwrought.
Maybe. I don't know. It was a weird episode that they're getting really good at playing with expectations. Like, they have kind of given us these side quest story structures the entire episode, so we all just assumed, okay, they got to get to Tython now, so they're going to have to go do another side quest to get their next little piece of information to get them there. But no, they're just like, all right, here we are. Let's go straight to the temple. Didn't waste any time.
So did you see this season of Mandalorian has been doing a ton of tie-ins with the comics on where Tython came from?
Yeah, I saw some of that, and apparently it's they've changed some things. They kind of retconned it.
Well, Tython, they brought in on the Doc Aphra comics. So a lot of the locations are all these Doc Aphra references.
You know, I think before Tython was in the center of the galaxy, kind of real hard to get to, you know, all kinds of black hole maelstroms and things like that. Where in this episode, it's in the Outer Rim. Because they even mention it, say, well, this can't be, the Empire can't be here because the Outer Rims are under the control of the New Republic.
Yeah, and one of the other, was it last episode? One of the other planets that they went to this year, they also went through and basically retconned and changed it because it was a Outer Rim or planet, and they made it into, and they mentioned that it was a core system. So they're kind of moving around a couple of the planets, but...
Yeah. I think somebody else kind of headcanoned it as, like, Tython could mean home in some sort of Jedi language. Mm-hmm. So there could be multiple planets. So, end of the day, it don't really matter. It's, he got to the temple, did his force power thingy, and connected to something. We don't know what. He could have just had the modem noise for... 5 minutes.
AOL.
Yeah.
He might have got a busy signal.
Could have, yeah.
Like, yeah, beep, beep, beep.
Right. Your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line.
Oops, sorry.
So while he's waiting on that, who shows up but Galdang Slave 1?
Yeah.
And Rex.
Right, and Lumpy Rex. So that was awesome. That was a great reveal. It does kind of raise questions of what the hell was he doing in the last 4 or 5 years. He had his ship. He has a stick. That's apparently everything he needed to wipe out the entire population of Tatooine.
Well, I mean, Gaffy sticks are very overpowered.
They are. He could have took out Cobb Vanth very easily and got his armor. So I'd like to know.
I think going through
he didn't.
Why he didn't, as far as like doing everything. I think he saw that Cobb Vanth was protecting the town and doing anything, and nothing else kind of drove him to reacquire the armor because he was content on where he was at the time, and he wasn't going to go through and take the armor and basically put a town in risk.
And also, Cobb Vanth didn't dishonorably take it from him. He found it, blah, blah, blah. So maybe he didn't think he needed to go kill him because of that.
It's just out of character for Boba Fett. I mean, he's been... And they may be trying to evolve his character so he can run his own show and not just be a total out-for-himself dick. But anyway... It made for an awesome reveal. So then, Mando, he needs to work on his tactics some. He's
horrible.
He's not very good. So he walks down the trail, gets blasted, like shot at by a automatic weapon, and then hides, and then just stands up. Instead of fighting back, he's like, let me just unveil myself here and see what this guy that's trying to kill me has to say. Instead of just whacking them right there on the spot. Anyway, they have a conversation, and we get Fennec back. So that was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Her guts kind of gave me the willies, not going to lie.
Yeah, so she got robot guts, thanks to Boba. Tatooine...
Okay, he can rebuild somebody's intestines, but he can't get his armor.
Right. And also, Tatooine known for their cutting-edge... gut technology.
Medicinal practices.
They got a farm for water out the air, but you need some guts. They get them. So Boba got all up in them guts, fixed her up. So that was kind of cool. But she was a good character, kind of wasted in season 1. Again, thought it was a filler episode, but no, they tied it back in. Then the Empire shows up. It's again they're getting a little formulaic with this, but it still works every time. Characters getting insurmountable odds, and the cavalry comes with a awesome reveal. And this is great. We all hoot and holler, and Boba gets his moment to shine. After not doing dick in the original trilogy, he earned his street cred.
Well, that's like going through, and this Boba was kind of the ones from the graphic novels and everything like that. That's kind of like what the Boba Fett that was represented, finally.
Yeah.
And knee missiles.
Okay, got
those knee missiles were legit.
Yeah, that was like out of the concept art for him, I think.
Yes. Yep, it was in the original like art book and everything listed as knee missiles, and everybody keeps skipping the everything that I watch shows Boba blowing up the carrier or the transport ship, and they forget the second part, which I like the best, in which they go through and ask him how. Nice shot. And he goes, I was aiming for the other one.
Aiming for the other one, yeah.
Well,
That's a good line.
I was reading that came from another movie where somebody shot a guy at like 300 yards, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was an amazing shot!" And he's like, "I was aiming for the horse." Right. It was like from some western that David Filoni or Jon Favreau loves, which I thought was a neat little nod.
Yeah, I definitely like that line in there. I was aiming for the other one.
Yeah, and again, what I like about the show is they're just masters at manipulating audience response. So we just had Boba Fett save the day. We're riding a high. Like, this is the most badass shit ever seen. Your armor's a little snug there, Boba, but we ain't gonna hold that against you. Then, while we're celebrating, we got our good laugh with that line. Just poof, orbital strike, Razor Crest, done.
Disney said, hey, we need new product to sell, so just take this out so we have another ship. Okay, good?
Well, yeah, good. we just sold that $250 HasLab vintage Razor Crest.
That's right.
I'd be so pissed. I'd be pissed if I bought that thing. Oh, man. So, just blown to smithereens, but we got the indestructible ball. That reminds us that Mando cares about the child. And
the Beskar spear.
And the Beskar spear, which, again, the show, nothing is wasted, so we're going to see those again. And then we got the Dark Troopers. Like, they came down Iron Man style, got Grogu, and
went back up Iron Man style.
Like, gee, maybe you had a jetpack, maybe you could have done something about it. But you spent 15 minutes fighting the force bubble instead of just going to get your damn jetpack. Again, just basic tactics, Mando. Come on.
He's an enforcer. He's a brute. He just stands there and takes blasts. He just relies on his Beskar armor to go through and do everything.
Yeah.
It's like Stan running through a game. I'm not gonna hide behind this. I'm gonna run out and blast the damn guys.
Right. That's it. Yeah. He just hit auto, and whatever happens.
Yeah. Then starts swearing at the game. How the hell did I lose?
Right.
That doesn't make sense. I just ran out there and tried. I should have been able to blast them. I don't understand this crap.
I had an offense arrow on. What the hell? So we're kind of getting echoes of season 1. Now it's time to get your team together to save the child. So they need somebody that's an expert ship tracker that can track a ship through hyperspace. Let's get Bill Burr. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
That made no sense.
You gotta have the prison break scene. Come on.
The only tie is like he's ex-Imperial. So like maybe he'd be like, oh yeah, we just gotta go to Empire EmpireSchedules.com and look up where the ship's heading to. Empire itinerary.
Hey,
So, I don't know.
I think
It'd be cool.
that's better than going to the casino planet to go through and get a hacker.
Right.
You watch your mouth.
You know, I like the character. It'd be fun to see him come back. And then we got to see Grogu doing some force battling. Maybe he got a little bit of a charge sitting on the. I saw one of the reaction videos called the thing a wireless charger. So he sat on that for a little while, got juiced up. So my impression here, like Gideon, it was a lot more kind of flippant and playful than what we're used to seeing with any of his characters, really.
With his dark saber?
Yeah, waggling that thing around in people's face. I think he's an Inquisitor. Or a former Inquisitor. I mean, he's got the armor for it. It looks exactly like some of the other Inquisitors we've seen. Just their arrogance and their attitude. They're very kind of joking and toying with the Jedi that they would eventually kill.
Which never worked out for him, ever.
That didn't in Fallen Order.
Yeah, that would make sense if he was like an Imperial Inquisitor, because that would explain why his army still makes it appear as the Empire's still in charge, because they weren't really subject to another person's command. They were their own commanders. So yeah, that makes sense as far as how that would happen and how he would go through and try to rebuild everything afterwards and take it upon himself.
It would also explain why he's knowledgeable of midichlorians and the Force and all of that, because he could very well be Force sensitive, and he's trying to boost that power, maybe.
I thought they went through and actually had the containment cell or whatever it was going through with what they were trying to use to clone. I thought I saw a clip of that.
You talking about the cloning tanks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another question. That could explain if he is in the Inquisitor core. He's high enough to kind of be in the loop on that plan, because typically at this point, all of the higher ups that were trusted by the Emperor, they're out in the unknown region right now, rebuilding the prototype of the First Order. The remnants were the ones that were not deemed good enough to be part of the new Empire. I
actually have a different theory.
Okay.
I don't think he was an Inquisitor. I understand you're not very familiar with the EU, but what about you, Sparrow?
No.
Okay. Well, there was a character called Mara Jade, who everybody loves, and her job with the Empire is she was essentially the assassin of the Emperor, and she was called the Emperor's Hand. And there were supposedly 5 or 4 others out there, each like a figure or whatever. So what happens if Moff Gideon is a part of that, and he's like one of like the Emperor's hand-pick assassins? And then they tie in Mara Jade just to, throw a little bit more fan service at us.
Well, we're not getting Mara Jade, but I could see something like that. I don't know.
I think that would be further. I think that would be further down the line. I think the big thing with Gideon and kind of everything with Ahsoka was more trying to tie back into bringing Thrawn into the series.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So it's going through. I think that might be like a setup for it eventually, but definitely not this season. I think it would all be looking out a couple seasons. But this season, I think the big thing is going to be at the end of be Thrawn.
Maybe we just need to know why he's cloning. Is it for his own power? Is he like a remnant warlord, or is he in the loop where this is part of the Snoke project or Emperor's New Clothes project? Yeah, I don't know. It's exciting, and we also have the question of, did Grogu come into contact with anybody in his Force Zoom call? And who could that be?
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's going through whether it's going to be Luke, Ezra, or some other unknown Jedi that survived Order 66.
Well, there's Seer and Cal Kestis from Fallen Order that are out there. Obviously Luke, Dark Horse, Mace Windu.
Yeah,
him and Boba can have a nice reunion.
Yeah, exactly. That would be, story-wise, that would be very interesting. They gotta put their differences aside. I can't imagine Mace being any sort of condition to do much of anything at this point.
Yeah,
he's been laying low for so long.
They would have the scars to match.
Yeah.
But all this just kind of brings up, what could the game be bringing in? Does this change your opinion of the kind of the teaser with the Legendary on saying, hey, it's going to be something kind of a Beskar ingot?
Out of the characters, a new Boba would be the closest thing to a Legendary they've shown so far.
I think a new Ahsoka.
They got to make the last Ahsoka better. I mean, I don't. Yeah. And I don't think she's different enough in this phase to warrant that. Boba at least got chunky. Got a skirt
well, that
on.
and it's distressed armor and everything. That's Beskar, which ties into the ingot, or they use on the ingot to go through and say, hey, it's going to be Mando, but with the spear.
Yeah. My money's on Boba right now. I think we do get Dark Troopers. That would make sense.
And that would round out that trooper team and kind of put the Dark Troopers in there with Gideon.
Did you catch the HK-87 reference in Ahsoka's episode?
Yes.
Yeah, the Magistrate's two guards.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. I don't think they make it into the game, but that was a neat little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Mayfield, I could see us getting him. He's like it would be a cool kind of AOE type character with his little stick gun.
Yeah, they have a lot of characters in there. I think that'd probably be next year when they do season 3, when some of these characters be coming out. The Legendary one, that I think that's going to be basically the end of Mando for this round until next year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think it's definitely a possibility of getting, like, say, the Dark Trooper to round out that team, and then that would tie in or go right into a Legendary or some sort of special event with the Mandalorian characters, and then a lot of these characters that we're talking about, I can see showing up next year. Because by that point we might even get a Thrawn.
Yeah, I'm just real curious to see where they go. I mean, they've opened it up so much wider than I thought they would. That it could really be anything, and it wouldn't be unreasonable now. My biggest, I would say gripe per se, but Din Djarin as a character has just been kind of left on the sidelines. He's kind of becoming the least interesting character of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a little bit of growth, being attached to Grogu and having those little dad moments.
No, I think he is growing, but not in the way you're thinking. I think you're going to see that towards the end of the series or season, because if you're going through the progression of the season, he basically just discovered that the way he grew up and then all the first season was that he was part of essentially Death Watch and the Zealot group of Mandalorians. Yeah. And now he's slowly realizing that Bo-Katan was actually more of a true Mandalorian than what he grew up as. And then they're actually probably the more of a leader, and Mandalorians are different. Then he just saw Boba Fett. He didn't think he was a Mandalorian until he went through and saw the armor and saw the history of Boba Fett and Jango. And I think his going through whole thinking of the Mandalorian culture and the way he was raised, I think he's starting to see that differently. And this season's kind of that progression in which you're going through having that zealot, this is the way, it's all about the mission, to going through and seeing a broader aspect of it's more about helping the Mandalorian culture and the Mandalorians to be, as a whole grow in general.
Well, he's seen that, but he hasn't
accepted it yet and done anything about it yet. I think at the end of the season, you're going to see him start doing things to with that,
and they need to, because right now he's basically this Forrest Gump of Star Wars, just running into all these other famous characters and not being his own person. I mean, the only kind of hint we've got at that was when he popped his helmet a little bit to drink in front of Grogu.
I think that's more of the evolution of the character, which is more of a long drawn out, and some of these other characters that you're seeing the progression for are because you're seeing them in short bursts, and they have to wrap up their character evolution really quickly just with the speed of the show.
Yeah, I think next season is when they really just focus in on Mandalorian culture, the Mandalorian culture wars, and kind of what it means to be a Mandalorian, and drawing back into the Darksaber and the leadership and the Civil Wars and all that. And I think, I don't know, they've got to do something with Grogu. I mean, he is anchoring the show down too much. He's great, everybody loves him, but we can't do this for another season.
I think the progression is going to be either Mando having the Darksaber at the end, and then it's switching over to them rebuilding Mandalore on who's ruling, who owns the Darksaber, who's going to be ruling everything.
But do you think people are going to still be into it if Grogu isn't in it, or is less a factor of it?
If it keeps continuing on with cameos like Ahsoka, Boba, Thrawn, say they tie in Mara Jade, and they Ben Solo, Luke Skywalker, if they start bringing in characters like that and they keep the progression and then add a character like Grogu somewhere further down the line,
Well, the thing...
But it's not the Mandalorian, it's the cameo.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Grogu is he was a huge pop culture phenomenon, but the thing with pop culture phenomenons is they're flash in the pans. I mean, he's all over everything this year, but next year it's going to be who knows what, and pop culture will be fine without him. And what we need as Star Wars fans is a compelling Star Wars show, and Grogu provided some of that, but this show needs to be a lot deeper than that to keep it going and interesting.
Yeah, because I see Grogu ending up going through and how you just reached out of finding a Jedi and Grogu going with that Jedi. And that's going to be the end of Grogu's storyline, at least for the time being. He might go through and have appearances here and there eventually, further down, depending on how many seasons they go. But I see them wrapping up Grogu.
I kind of see him not being a Jedi, just walking away from it. Because what good has it brought his life so far,
I guess it shouldn't be... The way I'm thinking about it isn't so much he becomes a Jedi as in his story arc gets wrapped up and that he ends up living with someone else. It's kind of like my thought, whether it's a Jedi, whether it's with the place where he goes through and lands, that she always goes through and just loves Grogu and everything, and the pit droids go through and fix everything. If he ends up with her or something like that,
I think the ET ship lands and he gets on with them. Just ties it in a big circle.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've kind of run the gamut here.
Yeah.
I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't got anything else, so let's wrap it up and get on out of here.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Discord. We got the link in the show notes. Y'all know, leave us a review, all that crap. Email us if you want to. I don't care. I do care.
He's gonna go through and see the emails and curse you out and swear up and down and lay into you, and then he's gonna go through and say, "I'm gonna do it anyways."
That's not true. I'm not gonna see the emails.
He has people for that.
Right. My people will see them. They'll screen them and only give me the ones I want to see, or I'll laser them.
Oh, man. Like Homelander.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
All right, I got to get out of here, too, so...
All right, guys. Until next time. Later.
Later.
As you are exiting the cantina, we would like to say thanks for stopping by, and we hope to see you out on the hollow table soon.